Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here, your host for this fine Tuesday evening. Of course, this is Seat Time, the online show for the off-road enthusiasts, where we do all the beer drinking and bench racing of all the crazy off-road news that's been going on. Our fine guest this evening, thankfully, we have another couch guest. You have no idea the stress that I go through just to try and get people on this couch, and luckily enough, Mr. Brian Storrie came to the rescue.
Best you could come up with.
Well, it even took me like 2 or 3 weeks to get you on the damn show.
Overcommitted.
Yeah, I hear that.
I had to put on a race.
Caleb Ramsey went and bought a bike for his girlfriend. Then he was out of town. All this kinds of stuff. Austin Henderson just can't make it. Whatever. Cody Beck. Oh my God. Now he's in Norman, Oklahoma. Like, what the deuce?
We need more peer pressure. I'll help.
Okay, good.
I'll help in the future.
I'm going to text the shit out of these people.
It's just about peer pressure. We can make this happen.
So if you guys have no idea what Seat Time is, well, welcome. We appreciate you guys being here. This is episode 220. We've done this 222. We've done this 221 times too many. So definitely, thank you very much to our sponsors, of course. We're sponsored by the fine folks at Fly Racing. You can find out more about those guys at flyracing.com. Even though the weather is nicer here in Texas, I do believe that the kinetic mesh gear, a little bit of ventilation, will still keep you nice and crisp. That's a good way to go. And then, of course, Kenda Tire, so kendatire.com. If you haven't had a chance to run the new Ibex tire, you need to get it to SRT Off-Road and make sure you order yourself one of those bad boys. I should have let you rode the 350 because I had the Ibex tire still on the bike. It was kind of interesting to ride at your property, like ridiculous traction in the grass track when I was out there play riding.
I would have liked to try it. Every time I've been ordering them in from SRT, and every time I get them, they're gone within a day or two.
The Ibex specifically?
The Ibex, yeah.
Really?
That new Kenda Ibex just disappears, almost instantly. And most of your manufacturers are coming out with that type of tires, but they definitely hit a home run with that one. The vented gear thing, by the way, comment, it really does make you feel frisky when it's nice outside.
That's like, I've had so many people be like, you really shouldn't curse on the show, but it really does. Like when you have that vented gear on, especially the kinetic mesh, and you stand up and it's just like, oh, like an AC for your groin and your crotchal region.
Yeah, I don't concentrate on my crotch region too much when I'm riding.
You're living life wrong.
Yeah, apparently I'm thinking about the wrong things when I'm riding.
We don't typically do this, but hey, you know what? This is a good comment. You're a dude that sells motorcycle stuff.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fact that the Ibex can't really stay on the showroom floor, right? You sell through them like crazy.
Right.
Is that nuts in your mind that we live in Texas, right? Like we don't have a ton of hard enduro, kind of gnarly, rocky, wet, nasty stuff, but that tire hooks up really well because of the type of compound. But because it's that type of compound, it will probably wear faster, right? So
it should, in theory.
Right, in theory. And so is that weird? I have no idea. Like, I've used the tire. I know the tire works. It's fantastic, but, they cost, what, $120 for a rear tire, right? Is it crazy to buy that tire and think, oh, well, I'm okay. It get great traction, but I may be giving away longevity. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
well, there's lots of things about tires that people don't think about a lot of times. And in my opinion, the least important thing about a tire is how long it lasts. Okay, what's connecting me to the ground is one of the, if not the most important thing on my motorcycle. And then, so I mean, I want grip first and foremost. I want lightweight next, and how long it lasts is definitely third on the list.
If not further.
but what? Yeah, if not further. But what's amazing is the, tires really have improved a lot over time. And I mean, some people like beer, and some people like wine, and some people like cigars. I like knobby tires, and I do like those other things too, but I like knobby tires. And whenever there's something new, I got to get some, and I got to try it. And it's amazing how much every few years, as the major manufacturers bring out new tires, they gain grip and and last just as long, or the grip stays the same as their previous generation, but it lasts twice as long. But so the rubber technology is clearly getting better, and tires are something that definitely moves forward. And every now and then I have a customer come in the store and order a tire that was really popular, 10 years ago, that I know was a great tire 10 years ago.
Can I get a Dunlop 752?
And
No.
I'm just like,
No, you
man, I'm
can't.
like, I know you have a warm, comfy feeling with that thing. And yes, it was awesome, but it was awesome compared to what you were comparing it to back then.
Yeah, your dual shock
If
bull taco.
Yeah, if you tried some of these new, I always joke around when they say they need a tire. I'm like, okay, what, shape and color would you like, and things like that. But if they would compare it to one of the more modern tires, it's amazing how much grip you get, how long they last. And they're getting lighter too. I mean, a lot of tires literally are getting lighter in the, rotating unsprung weight. The 2 years I spent getting out of the off-road world, and I've always done some moto, but the 2 years I spent managing the 250 Supercross team, man, you get allergic to weight when you're doing Supercross, and it's crazy. Like when new tires come in now, you can ask my parts manager. The first thing we do when we get new tires is we grab the shipping scale and we weigh it, and we're like, okay, what does this one
How'd
weigh?
they do?
And I'm retarded, so I get excited about those things, but. Yeah, it really is impressive how the tire world is moving
So I'm
forward.
going to tell my wife, anytime that I bring new rubbers into the house, you should notice extra longevity and just see how she takes it.
That's just because you're getting older.
It's like, it doesn't work the same.
It takes longer to get warmed up.
So if you want to get
Takes longer
warmed
get
up
started.
with a new Ibex tire, you want to go to motorcycle shops, obviously like Adventure Moto here in McKinney, or your local dealer. And if for some reason you would prefer to shop online, there is an affiliate link that you can use in the description to go to Rocky Mountain ATV MC to purchase that. Again, doesn't cost you anything extra. It just gives us a little bit of a kickback. Obviously, honestly, I would prefer you guys just go to your local dealer because that's the best way to support the sport, but you figure that out on your own, or go to kindatire.com to learn more about the Ibex Equilibrium and their other offers. And then, of course, SRT Off-Roads, we're talking about getting the tires in from those guys. They have much more than just tires there. So obviously the SRT products are great ways to protect your motorcycle. And then they also have lots of aftermarket and third-party kind of to parts for your motorcycle. I like still having the 300 going and getting the SRT pipe just because of the fact that if you're on a 300 and for a gentleman like myself, the price and the way that pipe worked for me, like a stock pipe, I thought was way better than going and spending, twice the cost on something like an FMF or a Pro Circuit or anything like that, just because that's not going to do a lot for a guy like me.
I'm an FMF guy, but there's definitely a market for that SRT pipe, and we sell them at our stores. And SRT altogether is on the mark with a lot of their products. They've got a lot of really cool billet stuff that a lot of my customers buy and bolt onto brand new bikes at the time of sale too.
See? SRToffroad.com. Craig Thompson's awesome. I don't know if you guys notice, some of the ISDE Team USA shirts have started appearing at people's houses and places of businesses actually today. I got them in the mail yesterday before noon, and they started showing up to people's houses in Texas today.
Awesome.
Yours is unfortunately at my house. I meant to bring yours. I meant to bring Steven's. I meant to bring all the ones for Adventure Moto that we're going to sell. And even so, here's the deal. So we're writing a check to the to AMA Racing for $400. We half the proceeds. So we made about $750. I said, well, I'm not splitting hairs on this one. I'm just going to write a check for $400 to AMA Racing to go to the Team USA funds. But what I did do is I bought more. With that extra money that we made, I bought more shirts that are going to be at Adventure Moto. So, again, once all of those sell, we're going to split the difference again, and I'm just going to send another check to AMA Racing. So, Seat Time we're sticking to our guns on that, even though our money is really just going to buy more shirts to then half that to go to AMA Racing. So if you guys want to support all that stuff, please do. Adventure Moto is going to have our shirts. I know once we get them at the store and get them up there, we're going to take a bunch of pictures and post those for everybody. But again, just thank you. So though it's not a ton, we did get a chance to send. We're getting a chance to send a $400 check with hopefully sending a whole nother $400 check, so $800 in total to the AMA for support of you guys in Spain.
It's super cool, and it's a really cool looking shirt. It's not just your basic Team USA. It's got some old school cool flair to it,
And a little bit of drinky.
Right. So, and if you've never been to 6 days, there is quite a bit of motorcycling, and there's a fair amount of
Beer gardens in Germany. 2012 was absolutely amazing. Blew my mind.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it before.
We need way more of that at events. Like we would get so many more people would give a shit if you could show up. But what's interesting though is like the beer over there, nothing is over 5%. Everything is like 4%, 4.5%. So that's one of the big reasons that you can go to those events and have 6, 8 beers, and you're like most of the stuff though in the States nowadays is 5, 6, and 7. Like Blood and Honey is 7%. Somebody drinks a 6-pack of those, they're not driving anywhere. They're gonna go pass out.
Just avoid Oklahoma.
Right.
Unless it's Oklahoma.
Yeah, unless you get it from Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It tastes like Blood and Honey, but it's still 3.2%. But they changed the laws though. So if you buy warm in Oklahoma, you can get correct percentage beer now.
If you buy warm beer, you can get higher percentage.
They don't want you to buy cold beer that's of percentage because they think that you're going to go into your truck and just pop it open and get wasted because it's the government's job to control us from being adults.
Wow. No faith, no trust.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's terrible.
I'm at least going to put it in a paper bag.
Right.
I'm not going to show it off to everybody.
Your Magnum.
My tall boy. I don't double fist all the time, but when I do, it's in a brown paper bag.
Right.
All right. Well, Brian, we are going to talk with Zach Osborne, who was in 2013 was there with you guys in Italy.
And
2014 at the ISDE.
Yeah.
So Italy and then Argentina. You got Slovakia last year. You got a chance to go race there.
Right.
You're going to be at 2016, so we're going to get a chance to talk to Zach Osborne about his thoughts coming into the ISDE this year and past experiences too. I think it's just cool to relive this stuff with these guys because he just seemed so into it, right? And so I'm excited to talk to him about that. And then we're going to talk with Drew Higgins too, local Texas dude who has been doing a phenomenal job, just putting his head down, putting it in the right places, not in the wrong places, and riding his dirt bike well. And people have noticed, and now he's just signed with Beta. So we're getting the chance. When you were like, hey, you should talk to Drew Higgins, I had no idea that was because today was the day that the press release was coming out about Beta. Did you even know that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was like, okay, good, because I was at least somebody knew because I was like, oh, now it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Drew's our boy, so he's our local boy that we've been working with, and he's been riding out of my shops for about as long as I can remember now, and got the deal with Shane Watt's KTM team 2 years ago, and then RPM KTM for this year, and then now Factory Beta for next year. So steadily moving forward, and he's steadily moving forward because he does the work. He does the work every day, So I'm excited for him.
I like it. He's talking about you, Zach. You do the work every day, don't you?
I didn't hear all that.
That's okay. Luckily enough, we have your good friend Brian Storrie here. He likes to talk about that. You guys are text buddies, and you guys talk all the time, just like best friends. Like you like comment, "Oh my God, I'm so glad we wore the same underwear today."
No,
is that true, or is he just kind of like fluffing it up a little?
We're not friends anymore because he owes me a jersey.
Oh.
I do owe you a jersey. I know that.
It's no good, man. You can't just leave guys like this hanging. Like he knows too many people.
In the works right now, so hopefully he's in that round.
Yeah, I'm getting old, man. I'm getting older day by day. I had another birthday this week. I'm no telling how long I can last.
Well, Zach, you just got older too, right? So what are you like? You finally hit 22?
I'm 27 as of Sunday.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, dude. Birthdays are a lot of fun. I didn't realize that you and I were almost exactly 10 years apart. I hit 37 in July. You just hit 27. I've got too many kids. You've got one. It's a fantastic thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's dad life's the best life.
I can't disagree more.
He's my favorite Husky rider, and you're not.
I thought you were going to say favorite fake son.
He's fast.
Like
and
we're talking about
not,
dad
so.
life. You're just going to go in there and be like, well, I like treat him like he's my kid when we're at ISDEs together. It's amazing.
Hey, I had a question for you. Just that's been bothering me, So when we were in Argentina, and yeah, I know you had bike trouble, so you were out, and we were at the final moto, and I asked you how hard I should hit a couple of the jumps. I don't even know if you remember this, but I asked you how hard I should hit a couple of jumps at the final moto, and you gave me the same answer on every one I asked you about, and you said as hard as you can. And was that because you were worried about my bike being slow, or your lack of your faith in my corner speed leading up to it?
I was probably figuring after 5 previous days at that place that it wasn't going to be that fast. So
okay, I appreciate the politically correct answer.
So after taking, I guess it's like after getting Mr. Osborne's advice, did you take it?
I did. I'd already told, I'd called my shot earlier in the week that I was going to whole shot the final moto, and I like to do that.
You did that?
I did, yes. I called my shot. Everybody thought I was full of crap and told me, and they told me it wasn't going to happen. And if I was going to be in the lead, I figured I needed to lead at least one lap. And so that meant I was going to have to jump all the jumps.
Really fast.
Right, absolutely. and there was
it was actually a pretty decent little track considering the place where we were was just like, I don't even know what, like some little desert mud hut town. And then there was this pretty cool track with sprinklers and the full deal. It was pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was honestly pretty. And you know, I moto on a fairly regular basis.
And
around
you know,
here.
I don't.
And it was a pretty badass moto track. And there was a triple step up, and I like railed the corner in third gear and grabbed fourth and just held it wide up all the way off the face, which is exactly what he told me to do. And I did it, and it was like landing on a pillow on the other side. And I was like, oh, thank God.
It would have been awesome, though, if like there's a picture of Brian Storrie in Zach Osborne's mind of like you going up and over that triple and just taking one hand off and like pointing down at Zach, like be like connect with your eyes and just like, yes, you were right.
Yeah, you don't do that over 40.
You know, I don't do that. I've never done that, and I'm 37, and that's not going to happen. Well, I guess I've never had Zach Osborne on the side of a track. That could change things.
Yeah,
I might feel like I might be able to do that.
Yeah, you probably would have done it too if Zach was there with you.
I definitely would have. And then he would have been picking me up as I
right
ragdoll down the side of the jump.
I've seen you on a moto track.
It's no fun for anybody. It's more entertaining.
I wasn't of much use to anyone that week, so I'm glad that something worked out.
I like it.
It was great. Good coaching. We spent a solid minute working on it. It was awesome.
Well, speaking of all this ISDE talk, obviously we're very much leading up to Spain. A 2016 ISDE is going. Brian Storrie is going for his 100th time, it seems like. We have to ask, do you miss it at all? You got a chance to go twice. You had 1 year where you did phenomenal, getting on the podium in second with the trophy team. You went back. You were on the podium again there in second, but unfortunately you did have mechanicals in 2014. But you've been kicking butt and taking names on Huskies for the past 2 years. But, I mean, do you miss any of that ability to be off-road? Yeah,
for sure. This year I was going to go. We kind of got it in the works, and then it ended up that Monster Cup's on the same Saturday as what would be the final moto. So that kind of dashed my hopes of going. Like I said, I had full intentions of being there this year. I do miss it a lot, but obviously, you know, my results over the past 2 years have been pretty good. Just sort of doing the moto thing, so I'm kind of thankful for that too. So
right.
But I was definitely looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to it, you know, in the next opportunity that I get. So hopefully that's sooner than later.
Right. Now, since you're not technically, well, not at all, on the Pulp MX show right now, what would you actually say to Steve Mathis every time he makes fun of you for enjoying off-road?
It's funny because
he hates it. He hates that you love it
with a passion. I can't remember. Something happened recently. I know what it was. When we were going to the Ironman National, like if you type in just where it takes you for the race, it's actually like way out in this cornfield. So you have to type in Ironman GNCC to get to the track. And I was like, dude, are you going to be okay with this? Or is that or are you going to make it to the track tomorrow, or you're just going to not make it for spite or what? And he didn't find it nearly as funny as I did, but it was funny.
That's pretty epic. What have you had a chance? I don't know if you do podcasts or listen to Pulp MX or any of that kind of stuff, but some of the banter that they've had back and forth, because Steve Mathis just gives him all kinds of shit for his enjoyment wanting to do off road.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong. I mean, goodness gracious, we're riding motorcycles, having a good time.
I know,
you
it's
know?
funny. But
Yeah.
Steve's whole thing is it's just like, this is your contract. It pays you to race motocross and supercross. This is where you make your money. You know what I mean? So it's
I know. Yeah. It's good. It's all in good fun, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So 2013 is when you guys did so phenomenal, and you did not have a chance to break your motorcycle. Then going into 2014, when you get the mechanical, like what are some of the memories from those events for you that you've still kind of, I guess, maybe either recap, relive, or just that are some of the higher highlights of those events?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 13 was cool for everyone just because it was a big accomplishment for us to be second. It was only the second time that the Americans had been better than third at that point. Then we backed it up the next year. But probably the coolest thing is just that Kurt was there in 13, and it was sort of his last 6 days. And just all that stuff kind of sticks out in my mind. And, yeah, it's something that I like to remember.
Yeah, yeah. That's a tough one. It's been interesting. I myself doing a little bit of this post ISDE research. We teamed up with Enduro 21 in 2014 to do a photo epic, and it was a tribute to Kurt Caselli. It was their pictures in our photo epic style, and it's really cool. Like, it's one of those things where I just kind of like went through it, relived it, and that was where I was like, oh, I forgot about Zach's mechanical, not racing, this, that, the other, and it was just crazy to see that you guys still did so well. For him, kind of a deal. It was interesting. 2015 is when we got a chance to see Ryan Sipes get the overall as an American. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, I can only imagine that you're excited.
It's such a hard event to win, individually, as a team. I mean, it's hard to keep a bike running for 6 days. Not only running, but at top level where you can, win the overall in either individual or as a team. I mean, it's just a tough race to win, and to be the first American to do it's pretty incredible. I mean, props to him. It's insane. I mean, that's something to really hang your hat on. I'm sure he'll probably be in the Hall of Fame someday for that. In my book, he should be.
Your average American just doesn't have any idea how many really, really fast guys there are from all the different countries. I mean, the competition there is unbelievable. I mean, like I said, I've been a bunch of times, and it, some years are more than others, but still just the sheer number of super fast guys that are there. But like Zach just said, you got to keep the bike together and running tip-top all week, and you've got to make it through every one of those 5 or 6 or 7 sprint tests every day without making a major mistake to win that thing. So you got to be blazing fast, and you got to put it together just race after race after race, day
and then
after
the transfer
day.
too. Like, sometimes you guys have talked about how some of the transfer sections are gnarly as well, though they're not for speed, right?
Yeah,
you still got to get there.
I've been to some years where the transfers were just ridiculous, like full-on last man standing style transfer spots, and some years it's not, like Argentina, the last one he went to. We were pretty much riding through the desert, looking around trying to figure out what to do with the transfers. But Sardinia had cool transfers. It was like Colorado by the ocean.
The Sardinia I would go back to ride again,
just to ride.
It was all see, the last part of the week was really, really good.
Yeah, you go just for vacation riding. It was seriously Colorado.
So are we
by the
putting that
ocean.
together? Seat Time Adventures?
Oh yeah, next Seat Time Adventures in Sardinia. That was going to be a little pricey.
Hey, Zach said he was going.
Oh, he's in.
He's going to be our Hollywood rider.
Yeah, it sounded like it to me. So
well, that's what we need to step it up. We just need a Zach Osborne on our trip, and
right.
Fuck, we're famous.
The year you went to watch, Germany had some transfers that to remember.
I wasn't just watching, Brian. I was taking pictures too.
Yeah, you come into Germany. I remember you drop down off a hill and there'd be like 150 cars lining each side of the road.
Yes,
and
there was.
People walking down the road with beer and flags, and you're just like, oh crap, what's down there?
I was definitely one of the guys with a beer and a camera.
Right.
I was waiting. I was going to the beer tent.
Whatever you do,
our guys are coming. I'm going to take pictures.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't go where the guys at the bottom of the hill point you, because that's not going to be good.
That's not the way to do it.
Not the way to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we've had a couple changes. We got the smaller teams right this year, and there's all kinds of reasons. I mean, in my mind, financially, that makes a lot of sense. We've seen some declines. We've seen, in Argentina, when everybody went to South America, you saw barely, like, I would say, a third of the teams didn't go because of the travel distance. I mean, that's kind of here.
Because they were smart more than anything.
Just because of the crazy terrain or the travel and money or what?
Just the whole thing was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell people of my two ISDEs, I got one that was a vacation and then one that was more like, not a vacation. the one in Sardinia, I mean, we were like, the hotel was like 5Ks from the beach, which was on the Mediterranean. And, in Argentina, it was literally like mud huts and nothing there. It was terrible.
Yeah, I found some good wineries in Argentina, but you had to get a little out of town.
That's how you made it manageable.
Right, yeah. But wasn't quite like snorkeling in the Mediterranean at Sardinia.
Oh, you guys are really making this sound awesome, and I just need to find a way to sell another kid and make it happen.
I think the smaller team, I really think it's going to make more countries competitive for World Trophy, though, because it's a lot easier to come up with 4 top-level fast guys than it is to come up with 6 top-level fast guys.
But you're traveling with 4 guys. You're working on 4 bikes. You're traveling 4. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like it's not just one less dude. It's one less entire system of a team to pay for.
There's no drops, though, now. So every score counts for all the riders, whereas previously the 6-man trophy team, only your 5 scores counted each day. Right. Now it's 4 guys, but every score counts. So it actually, it'll allow more teams to be competitive, but at the same time, if you make a mistake, you'll drop out faster.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Well,
I think it's a little more pressure on the guys that are in it. I know like whenever I dropped out the first day in Sardinia, then everyone was freaking out because then they had to count every score, no matter the case, and then there was some adversity during the middle of the week and stuff. So it was tough, and I think it'll be the same with the 4-man thing. I kind of don't like it. I mean, I haven't really done it enough to say yes or no, but I think that it, like Brian said, that it's kind of easier to come up with 4 guys than 6, and I just think that the elite like France and the US and Australia and those teams are going to be kind of held down a little bit tighter to the other teams who maybe could have come up with 4 guys all along but couldn't come up with 6.
Right.
So in that sense, I think it kind of dumbs it down a little bit, but it may make it even more intense at the same time just because all 4 scores count.
Do you think if you were on trophy team this year, knowing that there was no room for error, do you think you'd ride a little bit more conservative than you would have, knowing that there was
exactly what I was thinking.
If you made a mistake, your score could possibly be left out for that day?
It's hard to say. When your score counts, you can't really be conservative. At the same time, I understand that angle, but you would have to kind of find a happy medium there to where you're sending it, but within reason, because your score is going to count. But if you're being super conservative, your score is going to count and not be that good. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. I mean, I know in my first year there weren't a lot of tests where I was like really, really killing it, but I was never like, oh man, this is going to count. So it's a tough situation. There's always some top names that go out on the first couple of days from crash or bike or whatever. So it's a tough deal.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at our team last year, even with 6 riders. I mean, you had Caleb crash out, and you had Thad had a bike failure, and I mean, it's just a really
Taylor
tough
Robert
event. Taylor got punted, so it's just a really tough event with a lot of variables, and a lot of Americans don't understand, and a lot of both off-roaders and motocrossers here in the U.S. don't understand that 6 days is really 2 things. One, you got to have awesome sprinter speed because you got to lay down these fast test times. And then the rest of the day, you just got to make no mistakes and get through without tearing up your motorcycle. So you've got the enduro aspect, but you also have the pure sprinter aspect. And assuming no one messes up in the enduro part, then it comes down to, you know, who had their hair on fire the best and laid down the best sprinter times. And most people, when they hear the word enduro, you know, they don't think it's about pure speed. But
Right.
when nobody makes has a bike failure or does something stupid, it really comes down to just pure raw speed at 6 days.
That's going to be interesting. Well, so as we kind of close up here, what are your thoughts a little bit on the Motocross of Nations? I think it sucks that it kind of went the way it did. I think that though the results are awesome for what it was, though at the same time, and then also too, you race motocross and supercross professionally, right? Like you are in these situations way more than gentlemen like ourselves are. With what happened with Jason Anderson, is that ever an expectation that could even be a possibility for the end of a race to get landed on?
I don't know. It's a bizarre situation. Like, you could blame it either way. I mean, that Jason was going really slow and the guy was just trying to finish his race. But, I mean, he was a lap down.
Right.
You know, like...
Yeah, it seems so crazy, you know, but it's like, again, like that's why it's like I'd rather hear at least like your opinion, because it's like that's the thing is I would have the same reactions. It's like, well, one dude was slowing down because he was winning, the other guy was like, I'm finishing, yay. So it seems just crazy.
It's a tough situation. I mean, like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, what is this dude doing? That he's such an idiot, you know? And then whenever I watched it again, I'm like, well, you know, Jason was going really slow, but at the same time, I mean, it's just a crazy situation. Like, I mean, how many times, especially in professional racing, have you ever seen that? I've never ever seen it, you know? So it's just one of those deals. It's a racing incident, and I think that they did well considering that they only had, you know, it's another one of those deals. Only 5 scores counted, and Cooper knew that going into the last race, and he was giving it his best. So it's just a tough deal. I mean, with 2 to go, they had it 1, and they came home with 3rd. So it's just hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see him doing so well, though. I think, like, you know, I mean, it's like, because the thing is, it's like if that hadn't happened, you know, that obviously with Jason Anderson winning, like he probably, I mean, there's no asterisks in racing, we know that, but he probably would have been at least top 3, if not top 5 again. Like,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
we would have had a really good shot at winning. It's just crazy. And then of course it comes out today that the Motocross of Nations in Glen Helen has been canceled, which is kind of crazy. But I guess like bad turnout, they're probably worried about money and they just want to maximize the capabilities of how much they can make. And I guess they're going to move it probably not somewhere in the States. They're probably going to bring it back somewhere in Europe where they feel like they can, you know, get more fans and make more money off of the event.
Yeah, I read today maybe Germany or England, but I don't know which track in either country. I know that it won't be in America, but I mean, I don't really understand it. I think there's a lot of other tracks that are capable that even have held it before, like Colorado or Budds Creek, or I mean Redbud. Redbud's never had a Nations that I know of. I mean, that would be an epic venue for us, you know. There's a lot of options, so I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of underlying things that we'll never know, so it's kind of weird.
Got to be some crazy politics going on there.
Yeah, it's got to be some
and there's
crazy
probably
politics.
a lot of dollar signs going on there as well, you know.
Well, Zach, I know that you've taken some time away from your dad life to chat with us on the show, and we obviously really appreciate you taking your time to share those opinions with us and have fun. We do hope to see you back racing at the ISDE in some time of the near future, and when you do that, that might be just after your birthday again, and you can come back on the show and we can talk about you being awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Brian, please send me your address again. I'll get it out this week, I promise.
Awesome, buddy.
Wait, was
Take
he
care,
talking
man.
to me or you?
Storrie.
Oh, damn it! I haven't gotten a jersey in so long.
That one on your wall, though, is pretty sick. I'd pay a lot of money for that.
It has not moved. The day it showed up, it hasn't moved. And obviously for reasons now, it will never move from that spot. The NOEA jersey, which is from the New Orleans Enduro Association in southern Louisiana, that will move before the Caselli jersey ever moves from that spot.
Yeah,
So,
this one's classic.
yeah, it's not going
badass.
anywhere. Well, dude, we really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you much for being who you are and for being and coming on the show.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Woohoo!
Take care, buddy.
Peace.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
For one of the things that we didn't get a chance to talk about too much, and for good reason, cheating at the ISDE. Is that, or could that be a thing? You have been to so many of them, right, that I feel like you could be somebody who's going to be able to shed some light on the situation. And then now that it's 4 people, and that what you guys just expressed, how that now it's that much tighter. You don't get any drops, right? Like, is it a thing? And now, could it even be more of a thing?
You've got, a lot of pride and a lot of pressure, and a lot of people spend a lot of money to put these efforts together. And yeah, there's people breaking the rules. There's things that, and you're also talking about lots of open country a lot of times in the transfers where,
True.
things can happen, and people want to win real bad, and countries want to win real bad, and they'll do pretty much whatever it takes. And I remember way back when I was on junior team in the mid '90s, and
What year was that?
'96. So
I graduated high school in '97.
yeah, you're not that much younger than me. So,
Nope.
Yeah.
I just took a lot longer to get even halfway decent at riding a motorcycle than you did.
Back then, the juniors and trophies were mixed together,
Right.
and I just can remember every time I'd come out of the forest. And in Europe, it's the forest. You're never in the woods. You're in the forest. So you'd pop out of the forest, and there'd be 30 chase riders there on bikes that were identical to the sticker to their racer's bike. I mean, you could not tell the bikes apart if you saw them side by side. And, why on earth would that be? Why would that bike be that identical to their rider's motorcycle? So, I mean, there's obviously things that happen, and then you got, a big event with a lot of ground to cover, and most of the workers are either paid very small amounts of money, or they're volunteers that are from local motorcycle clubs, and they do their best. I had that year when I was on junior team, I remember having a failure, and man, there was somebody on me pretty quick. There was a trail marshal on me pretty quick, watching me, making sure nothing sketchy went on, and so they're trying, but they can't be everywhere, and they can't control everything, and sadly, some of these teams will go outside the rules to do what they need to do to win. And anyway, it happens, and it's disappointing. You would hope that you would never have to think or worry about that, but it's sadly it's reality, and you hear stories about it every year. You hear stories about this team and this rider did this or did that, and I'm sure not all of it's true, but I'm sure some of it probably is.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, and it's one of those deals where how many times in the early '90s or whatever were people riding bikes that weren't the CC they said they were, right? Like, and they tried to test for that kind of stuff, and they're going to tear them down after certain whatever happens, but. I mean, Chris Kiefer got the nickname Big Bore somehow.
I remember even at qualifiers in the U.S. watching people get torn down at qualifiers. And I haven't seen that in years, but I remember seeing people being torn down at 6 days and at qualifiers, seeing what was going on. I remember same thing way back in the mid '90s, being at one of the 6 days, and a rider on my row. The 3 riders on my minute, we were coming in at the very end of the day, and one of the bikes, we were on 125 two-strokes, all of us, and one of the bikes on the road, as we were hauling tail trying to get in to get as much time to work on our bikes as possible, because they didn't have pre-finishes back then. Now they have the pre-finish to make you check up instead of just hauling ass in. But his bike just seized up on the road. Oh. And the other guy on the road, the other guy whose bike was still running, was Australian, so we could speak good English back and forth. And we were like, "Oh, he's toast." He just locked that thing up solid. And I remember,
we were real close to the pit, and he just topped off once his bike stopped rolling and pushed as fast as he can. And as soon as I got to the U.S. pit, I yelled at Dave Bertram, who was the U.S. team manager at the time, and said, hey, I'm not going to name any names because this person's still around, but I was like, hey, so-and-so's bike just locked up solid right beside me on the road, clear as could be. I know that noise, and he had to push it in. And he was like, okay, we're going to go run down there. He's like, I'm going to get a marshal, and we're going to run down there and watch that team's pit. And they watched him pull the seat and tank, and then they pulled the pipe off. And they looked underneath up into the cylinder with a flashlight, and they all just kind of started shaking their heads, and then two more would kind of look up in there, and they'd shake their heads, and they hung the pipe back on the handlebar, and they slapped the seat in the tank, just set them on there because all that stuff has to go into impound. Whatever, right. The whole bike has to go into impound basically, and I was like, well, that's weird. Why the hell did they bother to push that thing into impound? And the next morning, we show up for the race, and they let you in to work period exactly 15 minutes before start time. Let you in, and you kind of walk up, and you get your bike, and you push it to the edge of the work period, and then 10 minutes exactly, and you're not allowed to do anything other than push on the handlebars, but 10 minutes exactly before your start time, you push into the work area, and you do whatever your work is where you get to the start line and have to go in that 10-minute window. And that rider, went in with us, me and the Australian, who that guy's still around too. We all pushed in together and pushed our bikes, and me and the Aussie were just like, what are you doing? This guy spoke no English at all. He pushed to his team thing when they let him into work period, and he bolted the pipe back on, and he bolted the tank back down and bolted the seat back down. And when it became our minute, we all three pushed up onto the start line. And they counted down and told us to go, and his motor started first kick and sounded like a brand new bike. And both me and the Aussie, we were just tripping. We were pissed. We were just like, are you flipping kidding me? It happened to be in the country that rider rode for, was the host country of the event that year. So the only thing that I can assume, which, forgive me, I know assuming makes assholes out of you and me, but the only thing I can assume is that during the middle of the night, the Husqvarna motor ferries put a new motor in that thing. That's the only way that baby was firing up without ever having the cylinder pulled off of it. So there, and that was a long time ago, and maybe it's not that bad anymore. Maybe it's the same. It's really hard to say. But by far, the majority of riders are doing everything the right way, trying to win the honest way. But just like at your local races, there's always somebody who takes a line that they shouldn't. It's disappointing and
those damn blue lines.
Yeah. It's funny. The race at my place this weekend.
Yeah.
The minis and ladies raced first on Sunday. Okay. And then the second race was the Pro Expert Intermediate race. Okay. I ran that race with Drew Higgins, who we're going to have on here in a minute. And then the third race was the amateur race. And I love me some amateurs. Okay. I understand that it's all relative. They get the same sensations that pros do, just at a different speed. And they're probably having more fun than we are, There's many, many days where I'm like, man, what on earth did I ever sign up in the pro class for? This is a terrible idea.
Bet your thumbs think the same thing.
Yeah, both of my thumbs trying to get ready for 6 days. Yeah, I've been doing great. I didn't wear my braces, Sean didn't think I should have them on TV or internet, whatever. Did get my steroid shots today, though. But anyway, they always say pro lines. When they see a short line, everybody says, "Oh, that's one of those pro lines." It's amazing. I go around the track in the pro race, and I put barrels. You've been to my races.
Mm-hmm.
My grass tracks, I use barrels for the inside of the turns. There will never be a mark inside a barrel at the end of the pro race. At the end of the amateur race, it's amazing how these pro lines develop in the amateur race. It doesn't make sense.
It's outside of the turn, right?
Right.
The barrel's the outside of the turn?
Yeah, it's something that's strange. But the pro lines always develop during the amateur race. It's a very strange phenomenon, and I have not sure exactly
what's going on there. Have some suspicions.
Well, I am going to be racing the National Enduro in Oklahoma on October 22nd, right?
Yeah.
And I'm on low 62, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just really hoping there's a lot of pro lines.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot.
All right. Well, Steve, let's get Mr. Drew Higgins called into the show while Brian and I keep making fun of the fact that I ride
You know,
a motorcycle. I think is the best thing to say. I don't really have a style anymore. There's
for
not
all
a
of
thing.
you people out there watching this that have never seen him ride, he's actually a much better rider than he leads on this show. So, or he was at one point at some time.
Do you remember the time that we went and rode together, and I was chasing you down, and we were for fun, right? Not in a race or anything like that. And you were like, "Do you only ride good when you don't know where you're going?"
Yeah, I do. Because whenever we'd ride laps on something, you're just terrible. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, come on,
Yeah, but we'd go to an
we
enduro,
go somewhere and
there were times where I could almost finish a minute out. Not anymore.
He was the double A on the row in front of me in the Texas Enduros for a full year. The last year I raced him, and anyway, it would take me the full test most of the time to catch you. If I caught you, and we go ride a track that's like a minute and a half lap time, and I could catch him in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it sucks. It all sucks.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah. Most people.
I need
can
more
go-
practice with the Brian Storrie training facility.
Yeah, look what happened to Drew when he
I don't
started.
know what happened to Drew.
Look at
Drew,
what-
where's your video?
Drew started. He's been moving
Come
up
on
ever
here.
since
We've
he got.
been through this.
Yeah, you look like a blue dot
You look
with
like
a
a blue
DH
dot
on it.
with-
yeah,
Initials, Drew.
yeah.
You not see me?
No,
No.
we got no video.
Did your mom tell you
So-
to not show your face?
Hey, there you go.
This is literally the crotch shot.
No. Look at that. Oh, we're looking up. We're looking up. Looks like we're looking up from his wiener. That's
This is
terrible.
the complete opposite of a POV shot.
Okay, there. That's better.
Yeah, that's better.
I appreciate
Oh
the
my God, it got
appreciate
so weird
the
there for a
respect.
second.
My arm's gonna get tired.
Right?
That's what I did tell you. I said, make sure you prop your phone up on something so you don't have to hold it up.
Did
the
you
whole
go to the
time.
gym already today?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
What, are you showing us your calluses? What was that?
Put some work in today, did we? Good. All right.
No, I put work in the morning.
Yeah. No. Oh, this morning or tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m.
What about this morning?
That was gym.
Yeah.
Jim.
No. Tomorrow morning, me and Drew, we're gonna
Hit it?
we had I told him Sunday on the start line. Okay. I looked over at Drew and his dad Kyle on the start line because we lined up side by side
Are
this
you gonna have your
weekend.
second beer on this damn show?
And I explained to him, and very calmly, that it was okay for him to win at my race, but I was going to pull the whole shot and I was going to lead the first lap. And him and his dad both kind of chuckled at me, but I wasn't kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was okay for him to win. I was just going to pull the whole shot and lead the first lap. So anyway, what happened, Drew? How did it go?
Talk us through this, Drew.
Well, I followed you for the first 2 miles, and then we popped out in that field. I decided I need to go around you.
So well, he's not explaining that really, really well. So
He did not tell it the way that I wanted to tell it, unfortunately.
right.
But
So
you did get the whole shot.
I did get the whole shot, yes. And
Were there at least
and they-
3 of you guys there?
And they were starting us halfway around the track, so the chances of me actually leading the whole first lap after getting the whole shot
Were better?
much better than normal. Okay, so I really felt like I had odds here, and then I had my homie behind me. It just
That
I was pacing him. I was helping him get used to the dirt. So that when we finished
Showing
the
him the
first
hot
lap,
lines.
he'd be able to
Those-
really
those
go.
pro lines.
And somebody couldn't hold their water. We're like 300 yards from the end of the first lap, and somebody couldn't hold their water. So, yeah, I'm still disappointed.
Jeez, Drew, you couldn't just give him the first lap?
Right. I'm old, dude. You got to give me something every now and
You
then.
gotta respect your elders or they won't come on your damn show.
Right.
I mean,
I'm going to make him sit out the first moto at my place tomorrow morning.
burn.
Nope.
Burn. Not happening.
Not happening.
Oh, man. Well, what time do you get up and do your workouts and things of that nature?
I usually get up about 6:30.
You know what? 6:30 is when I get done working out, bro.
How many 19-year-olds do you know that get up and work out at 6:30?
It took me till I was 29
You know,
to give a
so
shit and get up and do that.
when we started this show, I talked about how Drew does the work, and he's continually
Yes,
made
yes.
steps forward every year because he does the work. I mean, and that's an example of it. I mean, it's been from looking at him as he's grown up. It's been really, really, really impressive. And so obviously the Lord blessed him with some talent, but he works his ass off.
Thank
And,
God,
man,
because he's certainly not going to be a model.
yeah, no shit. Yeah, so we're doing the best we can with what we got here.
Yeah,
Okay,
Wear a helmet. Wear a helmet.
Right.
Holy shit, Drew.
but he, if I ever get the chance to go ride and need somebody to ride with, Drew is always down for some motos.
Dig
He
it.
is always ready for some motos, and if he can't do that, then he's going to the gym. And look where it got him, So we had a little press release today that I saw on social media.
He did awesome last year in the AA expert class of the National Enduros series, right? The NEPG. This year, you go into the pro class, sitting 6th right now in points.
After how many races? How many rounds are we in?
We got
8.
1 left, so number 9 coming. So that's pretty good, dude. You got to, and I think points-wise, if things went your way, you could get into the top 5. But you do have somebody sitting right behind you in 7th, about 4 points away.
Who's right behind you?
Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick
Farringer.
Farringer.
Yeah.
File ringer, as he likes to call it. So that's pretty darn good.
That's some rare air.
That's some rare air for a
I
19-year-old.
don't know what that means.
Yep, it's a little over your head. We'll talk
Is
about
it
it after
like
the show.
old Texas thing? I don't.
Yeah, no, we'll explain it when we
Okay,
got more
can you
time.
break it down for me when we got more time. We're gonna get a good 10 minutes to make sure he figures
Right.
this
So
kind of stuff out.
tell us what's the plan for next year? We saw some pictures on social media today. Heard a little rumbling before that, and saw some pictures on social media today with some different colors on. Tell us what the plan is.
So I'm going to be doing the National Enduros full time and option to do the Sprint Enduros, which I probably will do those just for seat time because there's only going to be 9 National Enduros next year. And I mean, that's not enough to stay sharp. But trying to decide now from the 250 to 300. So I'm going to start doing some testing right after the last National Enduro gets over and make that call soon.
Yeah.
But, and then in some like one-off races here and there. Maybe a GNCC at the first part of the year. I'm not too sure. It's all really
because of the fact that Drew. So the thing is he's going to show up at Brian Storrie's track at 8 a.m. and go do moto training. At about 3 p.m., he's going to show up at my office, and we're going to do some press release training because he didn't even mention the team that he's going to be riding for next year, which would be Beta USA. So he's going to be on the factory team riding the National Enduros, obviously, with an option to ride for the full gas Sprint Enduros. So Drew needs a little bit of training. I'm going to get a mic in front of him. We're going to do some camera work and make sure that he has a little bit more panache to be able to bring in the heat.
He didn't mention the fact that that he was going to have to figure out when all the races at the Storrie farm were and make sure those were on his schedule because he doesn't miss those.
Pass you again?
right. So he could go
Just living up the old times, getting passed by Drew Higgins.
right.
Well,
Go by me
okay.
a little quicker than the time before.
Let's talk about the 250 versus 300. This will be interesting. So, what have you been riding? Throughout your years now up until the day.
I've been running the 250 for like 5 years now. So
Have you
That's
ever
pretty
ridden a
much-
300?
yes, I rode one just recently and I liked it a lot. I mean, you can be a little bit more smoother on it, I think, and don't get as much wheel spin. And recently, I've figured out that I ride the 250 pretty hard, and it's kind of working to my disadvantage a lot of times. I think not going forward, just spinning, and I think a 300 will fix that in a lot of areas. So I don't know. It's something to test. I'm not for sure if it's gonna be my fix, but I'd like to try it.
So what he's saying to y'all in the masses,
To us general folk.
to the general folk out here, what he's saying is when you're in mega good shape and you want to go really fast,
and you come out of every corner with the throttle pinned and clutching it on a nasty, fast 252 stroke, it spins the tire a whole bunch. Frankly, I'm not in good enough shape to ride one that hard, so I don't experience this issue he has. But
So you still have jacked up thumbs.
but he rides
Do
the
you just
crap
grab
out
Sean's
of it.
boobs too much? Is that?
There might be a little big. That might be my issue.
Look
you
there.
know, because you can. I saw in a movie once you can spray in a thumb doing that.
Well, you sprained both of them, so we know how this has turned out.
Right, but no, the
Back to
300, the
motorcycles.
300 might work for Drew. You never know. He's probably going to have to do some back-to-back testing and see what works better. And I've done that with some other people before, where we've tested 250s versus 300s, and some people can adapt to the 300 and roll the throttle and be smoother and hook up better, and it actually makes them put out faster times. And then some people hop on the 300s and still ride it exactly the way they did their 250 on just pinned and clutching it, and the extra torque makes them bounce off every tree in the forest. So hopefully Drew will do the former and not the latter.
Yeah. It's interesting. So how much testing have you had a chance to do on the betas?
None at all so far.
Okay. But I mean, have you had a chance to ride one?
Not yet.
Oh, sight unseen.
He's got faith in beta. He's got faith
There's
in
nothing
beta.
wrong with that.
And
No,
there's
yeah.
some good people there. I know it's really exciting that Beta brought Rodney Smith on.
Oh, heck
I
yeah.
mean, Rodney, the wealth of knowledge you've got with that individual, and just the way he was a true professional and was always prepared in every way with the motorcycle and physically in every way. And now Drew has someone like that that he can go to on a regular basis. I feel like that's and obviously Beta already had some good people in place, but I think Rodney is really going to help move that team forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be pretty cool. I mean, so in the signing with Beta and all that kinds of stuff, what has been the talk of what and how and where and the why and the when of Rodney Smith being involved with gentlemen like yourself who are going to be on the Beta USA team?
I mean, we have access to go out to his place this winter and train with him, and I'm probably going to do that first, send my first practice bike out there and do a couple days testing with him, or maybe a week or something, and see where we can get a starting point at. He's going to be at a lot of the races, I think, for riding coach or whatever you want to call it, just giving us pointers and everything. So he's pretty much just at our whatever. We can just go to him when we have a problem, is the way I see it.
I like how he's at our beckoning call. Like, Mr. Rodney Smith, this is Drew Higgins. I have an issue I'd like to discuss. I just feel like 2/3 of the way of the throttle, as it's coming into that last third, it's just like, I don't know. It's not right.
Yeah, I imagine Rodney's got bikes now too, and Rodney's probably doing testing on his own, I would assume.
Oh, yeah,
And that. I mean, when I first did nationals in the early 1990s, Rodney was one of the guys who was the guy
Right.
here in the U.S. and his equipment was really good, and his preparation, like I said before, was just phenomenal. And I told Drew the other day, that was a really exciting addition for me, and really gave me a lot of confidence in the situation he's moving into. Just because when I was young and started doing nationals, Rodney was one of the first guys that would really help me and give me advice and everything he said to me, I soaked it up best I can, and it worked. Everything he ever mentioned to me, he was always right. He had it dialed. So, and I can only imagine he's learned more and is even better since then. So,
Yeah.
he might be pretty good out on his own home track there too, Drew. So
Yeah. Don't think you're going to pass him off the first lap, buddy.
Yeah, no joke.
Do you know what the suspension situation is looking like going into 2017? I know that these they were running Marzocchi's for a while, and then Marzocchi the mountain bike side got bought out. Did the dirt bike side go under? Like within so it was like, is it all socks?
I heard
at that point?
Ducati bailed out Marzocchi. I believe I read that in Cycle News that Ducati bailed him out because they most of the production forks, I believe, on Ducatis were Marzocchis, and so they were going to have to go to another supplier, and I heard they bought into them to keep the ball rolling. But I believe the betas are socks, and is that what they are currently, Drew?
Yeah, I think they're socks front and rear now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I thought they had a Fox shock on the rear, but I'm not too sure.
I think some of the guys on the beta team this year have been sponsored by them and have run some of the Fox shocks.
Okay.
But that sock shock, I've worked on several. Done suspension on a couple of 15 and 16 betas at the shop, and that sock shock is almost just like a good old 46 KYB shock. It's really, really similar. So it's not mystery suspension. It may be a name that a lot of people don't know, but it's quality, good metal, good components with good machining tolerances, and they're not reinventing the world. It's not a crazy different design fork or shock. It's a traditional design fork and shock. So it's something that people shouldn't be scared of.
We don't have triple chamber air stuff.
Right.
Drew, with all of your, I like the fact that Brian says you put in the work, and that obviously is what's going to get you to where you're at. But has there been any kind of like aha moments for you within having done so well in the AA expert class last year, and then now being in the pro class for the National Enduro? Something that just kind of like clicked, and you were like, "Oh my God, this made such a difference when I started."
I think suspension is one of the biggest things that I've figured out that made me go faster. Nothing in the past year, I think, is I've had like man, this made me go a lot faster. None of those, and that's when it gets kind of frustrating here lately. Is you're trying to find the speed, but it doesn't come as easy as it used to. Because you're only talking seconds here and there, and those are going to be the hardest to find. But nothing crazy lately.
Didn't you get into started doing more weight training this year, and you saw some benefits from that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did do that. I tried to put on a little bit of weight, and I've noticed that I can be a lot more. I can manhandle the bike a lot better, and I don't get near as tired. But putting in motos during the week is the most beneficial. You got to be in riding shape versus gym shape.
Yep. I feel like if I would put on some weight, I'd probably do better too. But the right kind of weight.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. I agree with motos though. We have a training program me and Drew do. We we give me a head start, like a big one, and then
30 seconds. Go.
It's typically more than that. And then he chases me down, but it seems to work pretty well, So I run like a scared little girl, and then he runs me down anyway.
Beats you like a rape tape.
Right, yeah, something like that. So that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. We'll go out there and I usually talk a little trash to get him fired up, just to make sure he's on tip top.
How do you get that fired up? Look at this guy.
Right, he laughs at me because he's like, "Oh my God, like I've rode with this guy 100 times and I run him down every time, and he still talks smack."
It's like, you don't know me, do you?
We'll have Cole there tomorrow too.
Oh yeah, we got a fast crew, so it's gonna be tomorrow morning. It's gonna be me and my son Christopher, who's a local pro, and then Drew, and then Cole Kirkpatrick. So we're gonna have us a little 4-way moto throwdown. It'll be definitely
get some helmet cam footage
a
for
significantly faster crew than the usual. So
yeah, we need some helmet cam footage of that for the Seat Time channel.
Yeah, we should.
I know, I agree.
Bring your camera there, Drew. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Bring the GoPro camera.
Right, there we go. We'll start. We'll have some inverted motos. We'll line everybody up from slow to fast and throw down. Hey, it's the best training for racing is racing, they say.
Yeah, especially when you're chasing down old dudes.
That's right.
The problem is I would be the first monkey.
But it's really a no-win situation for Drew, though, because when he does catch me, and prove my talking trash wrong. All I have to say is, so what? I'm 43. You know, you were supposed to catch me.
Yeah. You should have caught me 10 seconds earlier, Jack.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you should have caught me the lap before. I don't know what you're talking trash about.
Does everybody jump the bigger jump there?
Well, out of the crew that'll be there tomorrow, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, not everybody jumps it, but everybody that'll be there
tomorrow
tomorrow will
want to be able
jump
to
it.
jump that jump. It's not that it's that
It's
big.
bigger.
It's not.
Yeah,
that
we made it bigger recently.
Oh.
So it's like, I don't know, what, fourth gear pretty much on it now, huh?
Oh yeah, it's pretty far. I mean, what do you say? It's 80 feet.
Yeah, probably 80 foot. So that's what your 6 days at National Enduro guys are doing for training now. We're hucking 80-foot doubles, wide open in fourth gear.
Not this white boy.
So, and really, like at 6 days, the cross test can be a full-on moto track, or it could be a big grass track. But a lot of them are full-on moto tracks with real, and you get no practice. I mean, you get to walk it, and then you got to go. That's why I go to guys like Zach Osborne, or I've gone to Ryan Sipes in the past and be like, hey, how hard should I hit this one? And like Ryan's like, well, this one, this speed, this one, that speed. Zach, everything I ask him about, hard as you can. Same thing every time.
Speaking of that, when are you going to potentially try to go to 6 days, Mr. Drew Higgins?
I don't know. Hopefully soon. Maybe the next year or two.
Yeah.
I think right now with the Baylor brothers and Bollinger, they've been on the team several times,
Yes.
and I think it's going to be really, really hard for them to put someone else on until one of those guys ages out. Just because the fact that team's won already, so they're coming back. But I really believe that Drew is at the top of the list of him and like Zach Toth. Those guys, and Ben Kelly. Those are the guys who really should be the top of the list for the next crew coming on.
So you're just going to have to beat Ben Kelly and Josh Toth, and you're totally going to be able to be in that team in the next year or two.
No, I say put all three of them on there when the
All
other
right,
guys
I'm in.
age out.
I'll listen to Brian's story all night long. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
They're rolling right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those dudes are moving.
Yeah,
kicking
throw
butt.
some rocks in front of those guys, and holy cow, it's like they shift up 2 gears when they see rocks.
Yeah. So for how well you've done at the National Enduros, how does someone like yourself try to be better? And I know this is probably a crappy question, but be better at GNCCs, be better at OMAs, be better at those type of events, because even though it's still off-road racing, it's still so different, right, from the National Enduros format.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done hardly any GNCCs in my career at all. I mean, every time I go, I feel so out of the loop of what to do or how hard to go or anything like that. I mean, I went to Florida this year and crashed within the first 1,000 yards and didn't go very good. But the OMAs are pretty much like a National Enduro, I think, as the trail goes. I mean, a lot of them are pretty tight and technical. But, I mean, if you do the 2-hour races, I mean, riding around here is about the same thing, a 2-hour hare scramble. Or now they have those 45-minute motos. So that's just like pure sprint speed. And I think the sprint enduros come in handy there with getting out on the first lap and get going, because I mean, you don't have very much time.
Yeah.
You can purely sprint for 45 minutes, right?
Just ask my wife. I cannot. I try to practice as much as possible, but
Right.
it takes a lot for me to rack up 45 minutes if you go succinct. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still working on sprinting for 45 minutes. I hadn't made it. Yeah,
Sean's told me.
But yeah, Drew's got what it takes to do the GNCCs, and he only went to that one, but he's. I think you had a couple of podiums in the OMAs this year. So he's, and then what he does in the National Enduro. So clearly he's got the talent and the speed. And it would just be a deal of him going to some races and getting comfortable with the GNCCs and the terrain and whatnot. But he'd have it.
Rodney Smith.
Yeah, Rodney might be able to answer a couple of questions on that. He won him a solid pile of those championships in the GNCCs.
That is very true.
Yeah. And Rodney was a super rounded guy. I mean, he
did
back
well in
then
the National Enduros too,
we had the National Reliability Enduro Series back then. That was the qualifier series, but it was an actual AMA sprint national championship, at the time, basically, and he won several of those, and then won GNCC championships in the same year. So, that speed transfers over, and I'm sure Drew nailed the GNCC thing. He'd get good at it. Now, obviously, he wouldn't go win right away, but
he'd go get good at it.
Yeah, he'd get good at it.
Well, is there anything in that? I mean, you were talking about you have the option for the full gas sprint enduro. Like if you're in the neighborhood, a weekend after, weekend before, another event, has there been any talk in that where you could potentially go hit some GNCCs to kind of like, get your feet wet, if you will?
Yeah, I think I could go. I don't think they'd have a problem with it. It'd just be on me to go.
Right.
But, I mean, talking about the GNCCs, I think the biggest thing with those is you got to have your bike set up. And I think Enduros and GNCCs are two different bike setups. And that's my biggest downfall right now is I don't have a suspension that I think is good for those. I think you need a lot stiffer setup nowadays than it used to be where you needed a little bit softer and plusher stuff because the speeds are so fast.
This is true. Caleb Russell moves that motorcycle. And not unfortunately, but just what it is. Everybody's chasing that guy right now.
Yeah.
So.
And Drew's been on a very limited budget for the last few years, and so it doesn't. He hasn't had the money to go and have all just unlimited different setups and different bikes and just the ability to go. He goes to every race that he can afford to go to at this point. So. This is going to open new doors for him with this ride where he can, keep moving forward. I mean, he went from, like I said in the beginning of the show, racing around here locally and to being on Shane Watt's team to being on RPM KTM, and then now look what he's going to do next year. So, and even though he said he doesn't see any great difference in his speed, those of us that see him on a regular basis, like me and Cole Kirkpatrick, had a conversation about Drew the other day and talked about, where he is now compared to where he was in the springtime. And the two of us who probably ride with him more than anybody else, and he rides with Steve Levan a lot too, and I'm sure Steve sees it as well. But, we see a big difference since the springtime. And we see steady movement. We've seen him steadily taking steps forward for multiple years now. And, I don't think you're ever going to have a massive jump because, like Drew said earlier, the faster you get, each second you try to get is harder to get than the one you got before. It gets more and more difficult. But he hasn't seemed to hit a plateau. That's the impressive thing.
It is very impressive.
And I think that's why there were teams that had interest in him going to next year is the fact that he seems to steadily still be climbing and hasn't plateaued. So.
Well, I've hit a plateau of having kids, and that's why I had a vasectomy because that shit needed to go back downhill quickly. So I don't want you to have that plateau when it comes to racing motorcycles anytime soon. Anything we did not ask you that is on top of mind or maybe that you wanted to ask us? A wealth of knowledge on this couch.
I can't think of anything right now.
God,
no more questions?
You need a PR person so bad, Drew.
I do.
You just need a little buddy to come on over, just have some conversations, just a little bit more energy.
I can't think of any right now.
Gee whiz. Don't let him give you that crap. Gee, man.
I will.
Yeah. But, he did kind of big time us tonight, Did you know what I'm talking about? Because what are you like 30 miles away from here as a crow flies? Something like that?
So true. Yeah, he's like, nah, I'm not just Skyping in, bro.
But he's international
Just
superstar Skyping in. From Keller, Texas, all the way to over here in McKinney.
So far.
You know how the factory guys are.
Yeah. Zach Osborne, he was on the show longer than you've been. Come on.
Right.
You gotta get up and ride tomorrow.
Oh yeah, right. That's it.
Sure do.
Right. Okay, in a 5-lap. So last question here: in a 5-lap moto. How much head start do I need for you not to catch me?
3 laps.
5 laps on the full thing, big moto tomorrow.
He's had 2 beers.
Probably 30 seconds.
Man, I feel good about this. Have been trying put in some work lately, other than the 2 jacked up
Other than
thumbs.
the fact you can't hold on to your bars.
I've been having to wear thumb braces every week. I've been putting in work. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been looking at my bike.
So yeah. Felt pretty good the other day, and and I was
When you sat
I
on
can't
it in the
remember, I was
garage
doing,
while it was on the stand.
yeah. No, I'm thinking 30 seconds is only going to get me about 3 laps. I don't think that'll get me 5.
Ooh, buddy.
So,
30 seconds.
I appreciate the vote of confidence, though, buddy. I really, really do. So thank you.
No, I don't know. I think we did this one day when it was dusty, and I gave you 50. I remembered.
Yeah. There's going to be more grip tomorrow, which means people in shape
I know.
are going to be able to go faster. I'm afraid that's going to be bad for
Does
me.
that just mean you're going to sink a little bit lower so you can't ride the top of the sand?
Yeah, my lap times, well, and it's rough too because we ran a race out there this
Oh,
weekend,
yep.
so it's pretty gnarly. So
Gnar.
it was pretty good, wasn't it? The sand
yeah.
the sand was getting chewed up. So
It was
Gonna be-
awesome Sunday.
yeah, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, so Drew had the biggest win of the year for him. Anytime you win at you win TC Series at Storrie Farm, I mean that's big time right there.
That's some stuffs.
Yeah. But yeah, and there was a solid field of contenders there, but Drew handily, whipped everybody pretty good. So I think you won. What'd you win by 2.5 minutes Sunday, something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was solid. So and he was probably just toying with us anyway.
That's more than the last time I won anything.
Yeah. You won by 2.5 minutes.
No, I said that's more
Oh yeah.
than the last time that I won anything.
Yeah.
I can't tell you when that was, but
I don't remember the last time I won a. Oh, I did. I won an off-road race like a year ago.
no,
Yeah.
I didn't.
So yeah, that was like the first one in like 5 years.
I did get second at the
Right.
National Enduro in the 30A class in Louisiana in April.
Yeah. I've won some podunk motocross races too. Yes. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to not win in Oklahoma, but I am going to ride my dirt bike and have a shit ton of fun.
You should ask him for advice.
I don't need advice. I'm going to go ride my dirt bike and have a good time. I don't need to go faster.
Is that you just say that
Yeah,
now?
because it makes me feel better
you're
about
just-
myself.
So you feel better after the race when you're like, nah, I wasn't planning on going fast anyway.
Yeah, I'm just going to put my little fuel up belt on with my 6 beers, and I'm going to walk around and talk to people about their good times.
Right. Walk around all day the day before with the same beer in your hand and
No.
act like it's a different one
I
every
don't
hour.
drink the day before.
Yeah?
Nope.
Yeah. No? Well, I'm having a couple of beers here to kind of level the playing.
45 seconds. What is your knowledge on or from? Probably not.
So, Drew's going to be my little work to do still. Little work. And for about 3 weeks before I hyperextended this thumb. Yeah.
Restart the stream on Wirecast and see what happens. Yeah.
Just going to do the best I got.
Sean, I can't touch myself. I'm really going to need you to have to pull this one through for me.
Can you hold this for me?
I can't get my pants back on. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Hey, could you come here, honey? I just can't. Come here.
Going to do the best I can.
All right.
Yeah. Sadly, she can't ride for me, But,
Motorcycles.
Anyway, do my best.
I like it. Well,
She'll help me race prep at the hotel.
so you guys fly out the second. When does the event start?
6 days this year, Navarra, Spain, the 11th through the
Okay.
16th of October, which is a Tuesday through Sunday, which is a non-traditional format. It's
Oh.
always been Monday through Saturday. The people putting it on this year are really hoping to get big crowds on the weekend, so we're going Tuesday through Sunday. So anyway, it'd be great for the people here in the States too that are watching us and keeping up with us. So you'll, you can you can keep up with us on the weekend as well. So
Yeah,
it's going to be.
I can't remember the ISDE site off the top of my head. They change it every year, which seems goofy, but it is what it is. It's
If you just Google
2016 ISDE
ISDE
results, you'll get all that kinds of stuff, and they do a pretty good job, honestly.
It's getting better year by
though
year. Yeah.
The format of how they show it is a little funky. It is very well, upkept. It's upkept well.
Absolutely, yeah,
So-
no, and obviously, everything with the computer and there's more
With
and more
the computer.
people. It's just, there's more people covering it, more sites you can go to. Things
Technology.
load, technology's better, things load quicker, and you can follow things along.
Unless
better.
you're Brian Storrie and you still have whatever phone he's using.
Well, no, my phone, I've upgraded.
The phone's great. It's the user.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely user issues.
Yeah, we'll work on that one day for
There's-
sure. We'll have to
there's-
figure all that
There's
out.
user issues, yeah. So
I like it. Well, of course, this is Seat Time. We're the online show for the off-road enthusiasts. We beer drink and bench race our way through all the off-road news that we have about the time to talk to. In this case, it's been about an hour and 30 minutes, but typically about an hour. We try to make it happen. Brian Storrie comes on. We drink too much beer, and we yap, and we talk, and we have a good time doing it.
it keeps
So hopefully-
rolling. We just keep it rolling.
Yeah. We could, honestly. They could be, ridiculous. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Of course, thank you very much to our supporters, Fly Racing, of course. So flyracing.com is where you can find out all about their 2017 gear lineup, kinetic mesh, if you're looking for any of that kind of, down below when you want to stand up on your motorcycle. It's a good time, I'm not going to lie. Kenda Tire, we've been talking about the Ibex, the fact that he can't even keep it on his showroom floor anymore when he orders that from SRT. So you want to find out more about that at kendatire.com, or if maybe you're looking to order it, it'd be Adventure Moto. You would go check those guys out here.
Adventure
McKinney.
Moto, KTM Husqvarna in McKinney, Texas.
See?
Or SMS Racing in Denton, Texas.
On the other side of the cities. But of course, you can go to srtoffroad.com if you wanted to purchase all that kind of stuff there, or if you wanted to figure out more about those products before you go to your local dealer, however that would work out for you. Those are our sponsors, and we obviously thank them very much for supporting Seat Time. What's fun about Seat Time is we're not just a web show. You can find us as a podcast, so you can go to Stitcher or iTunes and search for Seat Time and find us there. So it's a great way to make sure you don't have to put up with our faces and just listen to our pathetic voices as we try to handle off-road news with alcohol. I think we do a pretty good job.
I thought we did great.
I still have my pants on.
Yeah. We weren't watching, but
It's okay. I'm
seemed
not
great.
listening either.
it seemed great from here.
I know. How much ass sweat, though, are you playing with right now?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
So if anybody, what was that, episode 220? No. The ass sweat episode. Oh, yeah. 220?
Yeah, I think
If
so,
anybody
220.
go to 220 and go to the very, very back, the end of the episode, and you will,
after the slate
after the
rolls up at
slate
the
comes
end.
up, you will hear some epic VO because the microphones were not turned off.
Yeah.
And you will understand why I'm asking about the AS. It's interesting.
But this was the Triple Deuce.
This
Tra-
was
the Trace Deuce?
222. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the Corolli episode.
Oh,
How did we not talk about it?
that's whoa.
See, if we've got a solid number to work with,
Well,
we could name them.
I've been trying to really put together a solid show for a long time, Brian, but you only come on so often.
How many times have I been
Not
on the
enough.
couch?
Not enough.
We've had 2 at that store, 1 at that store, and I think I've been on the couch maybe 3 times,
Feels like it.
something like that.
So like 6? So still not
Somebody
enough.
should be
Your
keeping
couch
track of
makes
this
my
kind of
butt
stuff.
sweat.
Really should be like in the 20s story, but you're like not.
Okay, when I get back from 6 days,
We'll have story time.
I'm in. When we get back from 6
You
days,
better go to the
I
after
got
party
somebody-
this year, you asshole.
I got some buddies
Don't
that
drink
are.
in the freaking hotel. I want you to go to the after party and
I
get
might have-
pictures.
I might have two more episodes for you because when I come back from 6 days, and then I got some buddies. I've been vet motoing quite a bit, and I got some buddies that are talking about hauling my bike out to Glen Helen for the Vet Moto World Championships, and I got some freaking flyer miles. So, assuming I come
Especially
back
after
with
buying
from
those
6
tickets
days
to
with
6
all the
days.
with
All
all
your-
the thumbs
all your
working,
limbs.
with all my thumbs working, might have to go out to Glen Helen and do some
You
Vet
and you
Worlds.
and Dr. Dubach. What is
Yeah, he's considerably faster than me
Come on,
at
bro.
Glen Helen.
Just
I'm
got done with
quite
6 days. You're gonna have
Yeah.
the rawest ass of the bunch.
Yeah, I rode it 6 days in 1995 with Des. Yeah, Destry Abbott and his dad Boyd took me to. We raced the 4-stroke World Championships at Glen Helen. 3 years before the modern 4-stroke. So
And now it's the 2-stroke.
yeah, trust me, Glen Helen sucks on a KLX 650. It's not the hot ride for Glen Helen.
Not as awesome as it sounded.
Not as awesome. That's the only bike I've rode at Glen Helen. Not as awesome.
The
yeah.
KLX 650. Huh?
Yeah. So KLX
With or
650,
without the turn indicators?
22 years ago at Glen Helen, the KLX 650, or 21 years
Did
ago.
you have
yeah.
the turn indicators?
No, didn't have the turn
You
indicators.
took those
yeah,
off
so
specifically
but
for Glen Helen?
probably could have been better on something different, but yeah.
That was your Cali bike? I'm taking
Yeah,
these
I was
off.
California cool on a KLX 650.
Awesome. Well, my low battery just came on the Mac. Thank you very much for watching C-Time. We appreciate it. I hope everybody appreciates the fact that I did have 3 beers this evening. Of course, I've been called out a couple times for having not drank as much on the show and getting loose-lipped and just goofing off. So here you go. I had a 3rd beer for you ladies and gents out there. Thank you very much for paying attention. This has been C-Time. Of course, I'm your host, Brian Pierce. C-Time, you can find us on our website, seattime.ca. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. We're on Twitter. It's at @seattime_CO. On Instagram, we're just at @seattime. On YouTube, you can search for Seattime. It's out there. Just give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a handy on the internet. It's whatever you need to do. A review would be helpful. And, of course, we'll be live again next week talking about some more of the Endurocross news and all the other fun shenanigans that's going on with GNCC. Remember, always enjoy a pint full of awesome, and see you next week. Peace.